You are about to witness a global movement. The medical system has failed us. Pharmaceuticals are designed to make us sick, weak, dependent. Not anymore. This is the Medicine Girl podcast with renowned healing expert and registered nurse Robin Stebbins. Every week, we shine the light on new ways to heal your body from the root, ignite your inner healer, and tap into your divine wisdom. Begin to live harmoniously with your mind, body, and spirit. You are stronger than you think, braver than you realize. Now is the time to wake up and start living healthier, wealthier, and laugh out loud happier. And here we go.
We're good. Hello and welcome to the Medicine Girl podcast. I am here with the lovely Renee Ballard, who I met, it must have been 2 or 3 years ago at Coel's Equus retreat.
Yep.
Yeah. At the,
Hello.
The funny thing, and I still remember, and that feeling of when you walked in the room. Because I'm always used to, I hide behind humor and wit. That's my go-to when I'm feeling uncomfortable. And so I'm usually, that's where I shine. And you walked in and said a couple of things. I'm like, uh-oh, the bar's just been raised. wait, what's my go-to now? She just outwitted me, and then we go around in the circle. One of the lines that you said, and I still use it even in coaching, you said, I'm trying to muscle my way to enlightenment. Like, if there's a ditch to dig to enlightenment, like just give me the shovel and the ditch, and I'm going to do it. So, Renee, introduce yourself and tell everyone a little bit about yourself and how you got into coaching and all that wonderful stuff.
Sure. Wow. So yeah, I've just had a wild 20-year adventure. I'm 40. I'm 41. I had this wild 20-year adventure where I took off from home at 18. I studied photography, art, painting, all sorts of stuff. Ended up waitressing for years. Because, once you're a qualified artist, turns out doesn't mean anything, not that useful. And then I ended up working, I worked in a cattle station in the outback. I moved to New Zealand, lived on a farm. I moved to Dubai. I was a flight attendant with Emirates. I was a bra fitter at a lingerie shop for a while. I was a wedding planner for a while. And then about 10 years ago, I found this thing called communications, which is in marketing. And I was working as a PA, and a recession hit Melbourne. And they said, you'll need to move to one of our businesses to become a communications manager. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, there's a job where you get paid to talk? What is this? What is this magic?
What's this magic? Where's Gandalf, and when is he coming out with his wand?
I was like, you are kidding. I was like, yes, please. And so I found communications, which sort of lead to PR as well, and social media. So I did that for 10 years, and then I moved to Hong Kong as a trailing spouse with my husband, where I worked. And then I started probably the year before, on a whim, 5 years ago, I signed up for LEAP with Martha Beck and Boyd Varty in Colorado. And off the back of that, I signed up for coaching. Then we went to Hong Kong and I finished my coaching course there. And then I was working in social media coaching. So I was kind of combining what I do with what I learned in life coaching with social media, because speaking up is a big deal and it's really hard and it hurts. So I did that. And then we got back from Hong Kong the year before last, and I now run a design agency out of Melbourne, but we work with people everywhere. So it's really that's what I mean. With the past 20 years, I needed all of that to be here right now. Like, there's so much I draw upon, which I know everyone says that. And when I heard it, I was like, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Eye roll. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's true. And it really, the gut of it is, it really just, to me, stems from communications, and that everything is communicating to us and we are communicating to everything, whether we like it or not.
Yeah. And that it's so important to know how to communicate and be an effective communicator, especially what I'm trying to do more is speak from my heart. And that's definitely not an easy task. I try to do it with patients. I definitely try to do it with coaching, but how do you use that, kind of integrate them more?
Yeah. I just get really brave, and how sometimes it's the chicken before the egg. Sometimes I know I have to be brave, and then my body will follow suit. Sometimes I'm just talking and my body kicks off without me knowing that's where we're going. So I know when my body joins in, my inner core just starts vibrating and shaking, which sometimes feels like danger. I don't have it nailed. But I think it's because I'm riding my edge of the truth. And when you get into deep truth, there's this kind of devil may care that comes over me, like, well, if it upsets people, or if they don't like me, it was the truth, and I had to let it out. So, and I'm not even talking like, giving someone bad feedback or something like that. It's more just speaking my own truth that brings up this braveness all the time. And also, it requires a level of flippancy. Sometimes I just have to be really flippant, because my anxiety is so strong that I can just self-shred. I'm technically storing content right now to self-shred after we get off this call.
Perfect. So, and when I speak from my heart, and I've gotten several emails, they don't post them now. They just send me private emails, really tearing up what I've said, what I've written, what I've worn, my body, my hair. But thanks to Renee Ballard, I'm like, not my business. Not my business that I triggered you. And you know what? That's not me that you're talking about. You're mirroring something in yourself that you saw that upset you, but it wasn't me. So I can look at, is there any truth to what they're saying? Is there anything I need to look at in myself, or can I just let it all go? And for the most part, I can just let it all go.
Yeah, especially with your posts, getting to the nitty gritty. I read them, of course, and they're really all about you and your experience and your findings. So you are so clean that you know that if any feedback's coming back, it's only about the person, the author. You're not making outlandish claims. You're not involving anyone else. You're not even naming anyone else. It's funny, huh?
It is, yeah. And I think that's the brand of magic that we're supposed to bring to this world. And I was talking to somebody else about when it's clean and you're really putting yourself out there. Yeah, that takes a lot of bravery. But once it's out there, it's not my business how it lands. And I think the really important piece is that it's ever evolving. So I get to look back at my stuff that I wrote before, and it's like, oh, I had some new insights. Now I can see it from a different place. And maybe I was a little more under the victim medallion. Maybe I was a little more under the water on that piece. Maybe they did have something to say, but that's the healing. That's the self insight of revealing now who I am. I get to do it publicly and through my writing, but that's how it heals. And if I just wrote it to throw away, I wouldn't put the effort into it. So there's something about that connection.
And yeah, totally. And I think there's something really healing about, you've done it right is when the pattern stops. Because and that's when if you just churn something out and tear it out, like some kind of reactionary, I'm pissed off about blah, 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 and you throw it out there for argument's sake, you can tell because nothing's shifted. But sometimes you're removing, like sometimes writing, especially posts like that, is like removing a barb, like a barbed splinter, and it hurts the whole time it's coming out. It involves like eating chocolate or making cups of tea. The procrastination is top shelf. Maybe even doing your tax.
Right. I haven't cleaned my sewer in a while. Let's check better check the clean out.
Yeah.
Anything.
And how is septic created? Because maybe I need to research that. So however long that process takes, and then you hit post. And it's, and this is the symbol I'm using for this stuff, because the past year I've had a lot of this going on, is, when you, like, especially at the start of writing one of these epic posts, is you look at the emotional turmoil as like a bushfire. It's 60 feet high and it's hot and raging. And I think, I can't deal with this bushfire. I don't have the power to put this out.
Right.
But then you push through, and at the end it's like this, because it's
Yes.
and
I think too, Renee, because you've stepped into your power, you know,
yeah,
when you're that scared little kid, it's that 60-foot tall wall of fire. It's like,
yeah,
whoa, Nelly. And, you know, you're stepping into that small, scared child. And then you realize who you are in truth and your energy. And it's like,
and it's almost like an afterthought. You're like, oh, I'm just, you know, it's like turning out the lights before you leave the house, like, and it's over. And that's when you know you got it right, is that it just, you hit post, the sweat stops, you stop researching septic tanks. You get on with your day, and you know you did it right. It's so and it's about banging a drum as well, because we all talk a good game about finding our tribe or wanting to find friends, and this is advice obviously to myself, but then when I do, you know, if I'm really brave, then you know, and I hate this phrase, but you know, overshare, because I have no concept of what overshare or undershare is. It's all just a lot of words. I can't have it both ways. I can't want to meet my tribe, and then when I speak my truth, freak out and think, oh God, I'm never going to make friends if I keep talking like this. So, you know, it's riding that edge as well.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I know that edge very well, because again, like you said, I don't have that gift to know what's oversharing and what. I just want you to know who I am and just cut to the chase. Because what I want you to, you know, what you see is what you get. I don't want to waste my time. And I don't want you to waste your time. If this is too much for you, I want you to know right off the bat. Move along. Yeah,
which I say that. And then when it happens, I'm like, oh, I don't think they like me. And now I've made a, you know, oops, bugger. Like, oh, I shouldn't be. I could I just, you know, there's that term being extra. Could I just not be so extra all the time?
That's who you are, and that's so beautiful. And I remember that piece you wrote about it was you had a glass of wine, the glass of wine, yes, that guy. Share a little bit about that. That was so healing for me when I read that.
Oh, that was brutal. I was at this party, and this guy who we often had like butted heads over stuff. We have a similar bolshy personality, especially socially. And so sometimes I can just bring out the worst in people. I don't mean to, but you know, it's bigger than me. And we're drinking wine, and you know, like, I'm piss fit. Ain't no problem there. So we had it, you know, we were going rounds with bottles of wine, and then I didn't want to participate. And there's like 4 or 5 of us drinking from a bottle of wine. And this guy offered me another drink, and I said, oh, I'm fine, thanks. And I was kind of talking to someone else, you know, and he just offhand, like, no, I'm good, thanks. And he said, go, and I'm sure you want another glass. And I was like, oh, hello. And I said, no,
well, somebody just woke up here.
Hang about. Hey, you want to serve? You want a piece of this?
Yeah.
So I said, and it all was happening in real time and was happening quickly. And he said, and he poured it, and as I started talking to someone, he poured it into my glass. And I said, honestly, you are just wasting wine. And we're in Hong Kong, like, everything's expensive in Hong Kong. You feel it more when there's waste. And I said, there's no point. You're just wasting it if you're putting it in my glass. And he said, well, you had no problems drinking through the other bottles with us. Like, it was so bizarre. Like, you know, even just telling it doesn't even make sense. Then he picks up my glass and tries to pour it back into the bottle, which other people are drinking from. Like, the extreme measures this guy's going to for whatever reason, and the awkwardness. You know, like, I would rather die. So then I say to him, and the wine didn't reach the bottle. I said, don't do that. Like, don't be crazy. You know, I don't know why you're playing at this. Like, I don't know what do you have invested in me drinking that requires so much of your energy? Why don't you just focus on your own drink? And he kind of, the rest of the table now is starting to get alerted that had turned south and awkward. But I just stood my ground, and I didn't, and I wanted so desperately just to obviously drink the goddamn wine and just shut up about it. But I couldn't. I had gone so far in that I had to slay the dragon. And that was, that's kind of what it is. That's what the universe, I find, just patterns up all the time, is these new dragons, which feels negative, but here we are. And so I had to slay that dragon.
I think that's so important too. It's like, I had to slay that dragon, because there's certain times when it is important to rise up and speak your truth. I call it righteous anger. And I was so bad with that because it was, you know, especially in public, that I would not want to have any attention brought onto myself, especially over something like that. Another glass of wine, there can be so much shame infused in that whole idea. But to have somebody try to publicly shame you or tell you you should be doing this or not doing that, there's a time and a place where you got to take a stand.
Yeah, exactly. It was that time, and I thought, I can't. It's back to what I say and what I do. I can't keep talking a good game about being brave or courageous or speaking my truth if I'm not actually doing it. And the universe is just going to keep serving up. I call them temples of enlightenment, where these opportunities for growth, which is a very polite way of saying burning ring of fire.
Yes.
Where everything sucks ass. And that was one of those situations. The universe just gave me this temple, and they were like, well, if you want to progress to the next level in the game, you're going to have to slay the dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be jammed, like the adrenaline rush. And it's such a small thing, but the adrenaline rush I got walking home was exhilarating. And my desire to self-shred was diminished by my sense of achievement at speaking up. And, you know, like, I don't even understand what it was with that guy. You know, it was so strange that it was kind of that one perfect moment in time. It was amazing. Like, it's tremendous. And it hasn't stopped. I've been slaying dragons kind of ever since. Like I was saying before, I moved back to Melbourne after being away for years and years I've been away. And even when I came back, I was never properly back. I was always just plotting my next leading.
Yes.
But now I'm back. I'm back for good. And ish. I don't want to get too tight about it, but there's always 10%.
Yeah.
So I always know where my passport
you got to always have one foot out the door, just in
always,
case.
2 sheets to the wind.
Yeah.
And so I've come back, and then all of these dragons from my past have come out, like family members wanting stuff from us, or my father's gone into care. He's got Alzheimer's, and he was a total dragon. And this is how weird and symbolic and magical life has gotten. So I've moved back into my family home. My dad's gone into care. My mum has moved into a beautiful apartment, which is all good. Everyone's in their rightful spots. And our house is shaped like a little castle. It was built 100 years ago. It has turrets. It has a spire. It's the little arch doors. It's the cutest thing. Literally looks like a castle. And Dad was living in there as the king of the castle. And he and I have a very volatile, yelly, angry relationship. And but I'm an only child, so it's we're enmeshed. Like, you know, I had to move to Dubai to get away. I had to move to New Zealand to get away. I had to move to the outback to get away. Very loose boundaries, my dad. Some might say none. And so he went into care. We moved into the family home, into the castle. And I'll be damned if it didn't feel like I'd slayed the dragon, the king of the castle. Like, literally, you couldn't script this. It's so strange. Like, this guy, and he has Alzheimer's now, so because he's a narcissist and he has Alzheimer's, and the Alzheimer's has just diminished his narcissism, which it's so wild. Like, he's without manipulation. So it turns out he's not as charm. Like, he's still got a little bit of charm left, but he's not manipulative anymore. So it's bizarre. I've never known my dad without manipulation. It's so strange. And like the Temple of Enlightenment Munch, it's been insane. Like, I can't even, like, I'm speechless at how huge the whole thing's been, and just the symbolism, because he was a tyrant growing up, but very charming, of course, you know. And then to all of these people the past year, because he has gone into care, he was friends with saints and sinners everywhere, and so they've all come out of the woodwork with and people call, because he's this, I know this is minutiae detail, but he's a collector. So, you know, and the difference between a collector and a hoarder, I think, is storage. But anyway, so he spent all the family money buying whatever he wanted, because he's healing his heart, whatever, from his soul, because he had a shitty childhood, in his defense. And so we came back with all of his hoarding and all of his collections, which we had to sell off to help get him into care. It's just been like just symbolically emptying the house that we now live in of all of the things. I don't know. It's like literally holding onto my head so it doesn't come off.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's what I've noticed, and what you talked about, you know, slaying the dragon and facing the dragon with this guy with the wine, trying to refill your wine glass. And then you think, oh, I did it. And
Yeah.
now I can just rest. But it's like next, yeah. But yet the next dragon to slay is even bigger and scarier.
Yeah.
You know, they don't,
Totally.
it doesn't get any easier. The bar just keeps going up and up and
Yeah.
up till you get that lesson. And then the next lesson is going to be equally as scary.
Yeah.
Dragon's going to
The
be
patterning.
bigger.
Yeah, because you keep looking at patternings. I keep looking at patternings now much more because what's the universe going to serve up, and what patternings am I cementing that I'm keep, you know, creating these same patterns over and over again. But dealing with Dad is like, you know, he was just such a big part of my life, and he just shaped me. And now, because he's no longer a tyrant, because he's small and little and he's in care with Alzheimer's, it's weird. Not I like, if like I'm so Pavlov's dog. If I hear a certain kind of car start, my heart, like I know exactly the car because it used to be his car. Or if I hear the electric gates go at the house, I'm like, oh my God, Dad's home. So he had this Pavlov's dog hold over me that, and it just set me on this path of, if he wants to, he could ruin my life. You know, he would always threaten to take me out of school, threaten to sell my horse. You know, and he was just, and all of that's what I was saying before. That's what I meant to say before, is all these people, since he's been sick, have come out of the woodwork. And with this collection stuff, they're like, oh, I don't mean to be a vulture, but are you selling blah, blah, blah?
Oh, wow.
I'm like, you sound like a vulture. And yes, we are.
and since you came at it that way, it's going to be just a little bit more. I'm going to add 15% to what I was thinking of asking.
Totally, for you,
Yeah.
double.
Well,
Yeah.
how do you think, like, okay, so going back to your dad, and some people would call it Pavlov's dog and that reaction. Other people would call it PTSD, you know, from growing with that trauma and that hypervigilance. You're always looking over your shoulder, or for me, it's a whistle. My dad would whistle, and it was a certain type of way he would whistle. You knew, oh, this is not going to go well. And I remember my sister and I and my brother were walking somewhere all together, and somebody sounded that whistle, and all three of us stopped right in our tracks.
Yeah.
It stays with you. It stays in the body. How is that affecting you?
All the time, every day. As soon as I come up against anything that feels like a power above me, so government, bureaucracy, police, the law, anyone, like we're you know, like anything that involves people I don't know very well, that we have to achieve something together. So not in a work capacity, because that has very clear boundaries. You know, the client pays the money, the agency does the work. That it's not triggered by that. It's triggered by a power where I have no control.
Yeah,
So
the powerlessness.
Yeah, the powerlessness, it triggers me deeply, and I'd like to say it doesn't, but it deeply, like, I move into deep panic, deep fear. I get really, like, and that's why I'm always 2 sheets to the wind, because I'm like, I can always leave. I can always leave, because I feel like nothing will go, my tape plays, nothing will go my way. I will have to compromise. I won't get what I want. I will have to do something I don't want to do. Luckily, I have a husband who I'm quite close with, and he doesn't have PTSD like I do.
Yeah.
So for the first 10 years, we argued a lot, because I would overreact well, he would say overreact, I would say respond.
Right.
Yeah.
I responded appropriately, and go on.
I sounded the alarm and shut myself. And
you're welcome.
Recently, just because Dad going into care, and I realized it was all a fallacy. He didn't have that power. I was helping him have that power. Now I can stop. The panic rises up, the vice, like, I'm about to get squished and I'm not going to get out of here. Like, it's to the point where I don't like being on boats or islands. That's how much I like to be 2 sheets to the wind, so I can get away. And so I can say to Chris, oh, I'm experiencing, like, I'm terrified this is not going to work out. And Chris is like, honey, it's the fence we share with the neighbor. I'm sure it's going to go fine when we rebuild it. I'm like, you don't understand. You don't understand.
You have no idea how deep this goes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's like that. Like, I have you know, and that's my anxiety as well. Like I have deep anxiety, and you know, it's been a gift because my anxiety has made me a strategist, and because I'm always determined, I'm not going to get my way. I'm a tic-tac-toe. Like I'll work my way out. You know, I might look like I'm sitting eating dinner, but I'm really planning some elaborate escape route. And that's from my anxiety. And, you know, so I've really come to, my anxiety has been awesome like that. It really helps me feel like it's been an asset. It's been a real tool. I mean, it's got me into a lot of trouble.
So I'm sure that you've turned it into a gift, because I think that's all of our pain, all of our trauma manifests in some way. If we can learn how to kind of turn it down, so it's not a raging addiction to heroin or whatever else, name your poison. If you can turn it down a little and just see what the gifts are, you know, that I'm similar. I'm hyper vigilant. I'm always looking over my shoulder, but that's really that orientation to detail and the attention to detail is so great in different aspects of my life. Like starting the podcast, the attention to detail, I didn't miss anything. Or with patients, I don't miss anything. I look at their house. I look at their cupboards. I look at, you know, the way their feet are, why is that sock over there? You know, it's like I'm a super sleuth, and that serves me really well so that I can catch things early. But if it's turned up too high, we're always running, right?
Yeah. Oh my, absolutely. And I must admit, because since my anxiety has come down, my memory is not as good. And I have like a hyper memory, and like I can remember what you were wearing the first day I met you.
Yeah.
It was a white singlet top. And I was like, fuck, this woman is
this is why I love you.
So gorgeous. Oh my God. Of course, and your signature hair. Yeah, and sorry, I got blown away with my own memory.
That's amazing that you can remember that.
Yeah, and it's and some of it I find everything interesting. So, and I find with my memory it's like a loom, and so I just put other things that weave into other things. But I must admit now, because I don't have that same hypervigilance, because my anxiety is not as bad. Because I used to remember everything, so that if anything went wrong, I could cross-check it, fact check it, and then try and never to let that happen again.
Oh, that's so you will never make another mistake again. I made that mistake. So now let's go back, 2 to 3 days before that and just see, what led up to that mistake, so that this will never happen again. If it does, we'll run.
Yep.
We will wipe
always one foot out the door.
Yeah. Wipe the slate clean. Here's my ditch bag and my plane tickets, just in case I do happen to make another mistake. And not being able to embrace your humanness.
Oh, no. No. Au contraire. Even to the point where I hide my memory because it makes me stand out too much. So it doesn't happen so much now, but when I was younger, I could meet somebody, actually not still happens now, have a conversation. They tell me something that's like, their cousin's 21st served, I don't know, pigs in a blanket or something that I find a bit unusual or weird. I can remember that, and then 13 years later see them and still know that, but it's not a good party trick because you look like a stalker. Right. So, I have to shapeshift into looking like a normal person, which is fun.
I don't think so.
In the car.
I think the people that think you're a stalker or think that that's strange, you don't need to waste any time with them. I think that's incredible, and I think it's such an incredible gift too, because I think all of us truly, to our core, want to be seen, and we really want to be seen for who we are authentically. Not for this, Renee has seen my facade forever, but I want you to see me. And when you see me and you remember enough, like that really made my heart feel warm. But that, I think, Renee, that just speaks to your superpowers. And that's what always attracted me to, I hired you to do some marketing coaching with me. And it wasn't even that I didn't think I could do my own marketing. I just wanted to connect with you because you have this vibrancy and you have a way of just making the trauma seem funny and not making fun of your trauma, because that's different and that might cause some walls to go up. But this is like, let's find a way to laugh at our trauma. And I remember we would make up stories for, you know, our alter egos and just kind of like have what clothes they're wearing. And, and then though, you're no longer under that ego, that part of yourself. You're now teammates and you can laugh at him. And you know, just find the good in him.
Yeah. I remember you saying, I don't know what your lady was called, but she was the alligator wrangler. And she was like, yeehaw,
we got a live one here. Yeah. Has like 2 or 3 teeth and, you know, an old belt rope. It's always falling off.
And what does she care? She's like, a knee is the same to an ass cheek. I don't give a shit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't care. I'm out here on the bayou. Just looking for it, looking for drama. Oh, we got a live one.
I know. I live for that lady. She pops into my head. She lives in my head as well from you. Like
yours was. I loved yours. Yours was the long, skinny cigarette. Yes. And what did she represent?
She was Rebecca, and she wears a tight suit. She wears fucking high stiletto heels. She's all out of fucks for me especially, but for everyone. She smokes cigarettes. Her hair is tight back in a French roll because can't anybody dress properly these days?
Not a hair out of place.
Oh, not a hair. She hasn't got time for that. She sits cross-legged. Her skirt is so pencil tight she can barely walk, and that pisses her off too. But how else is she meant to have it? She's so fucking angry. She is furious and perfection all at once. And she, oh God, like she can have a spell. Like if anything, do you know what kicks it off? If I'm in a restaurant and the waiter or waitress isn't good, I'm just like, do I have to do everything around here? And I get all psycho.
Here she comes. Here comes somebody light my cigarettes. And she's got to have like a cigarette holder, right? A hand covered cigarette.
And she even the cigarette's upset. Like,
even the cigarette's nervous.
Yeah, everybody's nervous, and even Chris can see her coming. He's like, that waiter's gonna regret this. And I was like, well, it's out of my hands now.
But you know, I think that's I love that you said that, because this is what happens to me. And when you see a person's facade and people see me and they don't realize they're waking up a dragon. You know, do you really want 30 years of repressed anger just unleashed? Like, you're going to give me a reason to vent this volcano right now? Really?
Yeah.
Please do.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, because I'm like, I'm looking for a place to unleash, and it's been 3 days. So
it's kind of up to here. This seems justifiable, but once that dragon's awake, she's awake. Like, you said, it's out of my hands.
It's out of my hands. And I get all lawyery, and I'm not a lawyer, but my mind moves into this, like, I see everything like the Matrix, and it's like a cat killing a mouse for fun. I'm just like, now I'm going to have to give you a full fucking stitch up. Like, it's out of my hands.
Yeah.
You're pissed. Like banks, anything to do with banks or anything, whether if I hear the sentence, well, that's our policy, I'm like, that's a good one. Stretches.
Can you just repeat that one more time to make sure I got it correctly, but slower this time?
Yeah, really, because I want to get a run up at this.
Enunciate.
Yeah. My diction gets really tight.
Yes.
It's so wild. And then when she's had her way, it's awful. I'm exhausted. Like, it's not great. But then also, fuck him.
Fuck him. And also, with the guy with the glass of wine, there's a time for righteous anger, and I'm trying to hone my dragon skills because before too, for sure, this is out of my hands. Somebody crosses my family, or it's like, bloom. Yeah. I have no time to consider how to navigate this. It's done before I even know what's happened. But I'm trying to make friends with the dragon so that I can wield that power properly, so that I'm not going to have to make any apologize later, but yet the power is there, and the person knows I've crossed the line. I am so sorry.
See, that's good. I just let her have it. Like, she just has at it. But I never thought to use her more powerfully like that. Yeah, that's good to think of her more as a tool and less as this woman just stalking around my mind looking for rage. Yeah, that's a fucking game changer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could do with that. Because I also, there's also a counterpart. I got off RuPaul's Drag Race. So RuPaul's Drag Race, he had this challenge once where you had to dress as your inner saboteur, Rebecca, and your inner angel, your inner guide, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, I thought of Rebecca. I even did a PowerPoint to her. Like, she's got her own slide of what she wears and stuff. So satisfying.
Of course she does.
Do one. Oh my God. And she got Louboutin, cigarette smoke, everything. And then I did the other one, which was the inner angel, and her name is Free Flow. And she wears this colourful silk caftan wedge heels because they're elegant but comfortable.
Yes.
She has this blonde hair that just goes for days. It's voluminous. You know, her handbag's one of those little dilly bags that pulls up at the top. You know, those little pompy bags. Yeah, so beautiful. You know, she's like a mermaid made real. She floats along. Nothing is a big deal. No tight waistband around her waist. She's, you know, silk caftan, and she's so comfortable everywhere. So Free Flow is the other. So there's Rebecca and Free Flow. And I haven't thought about Free Flow for a while because I've just been laughing a lot more lately.
So she's more prominent than, you know, when you're,
she's living.
Yeah. So, and I think that's the balance. It's like, I've got a bunch of them, but, you know, and there's the mean ones, there's the nice ones, there's just the crazy ones. But it's like, when all of these facets of who we are met, then they're all quiet. But the ones that start getting louder and louder, that's that part of you that needs attention, which is a good way to shine the light without having to get triggered all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And I suppose that's what happens. The universe will shine a light. If you don't see it, they'll send a trigger. And if you really don't send it, they'll send a temple of enlightenment. And that, you know, it was all our doing the whole time. It's just, when are we going to catch it? It's so beautiful. And, you know, I have a 5-year-old. And so when she kicks off, I'm like, is anger at the control panel. And, you know, his head.
Yeah.
And she laughs a little bit. And I'm like, don't let me interrupt anger. Like, keep going. I'm just curious. Is anger at the control panel? And she's like,
that's beautiful. That's a beautiful way to communicate it. So you're not making her wrong for being angry.
No, I encourage it like joy. Yeah. I'm like, you let me, like, I used to help her when she was about 3 or 4. She'd ask for her iPad and I'd say no. And she would say, and she would whine or yell. And I'd say, you know what might give it some power is if you stomped your foot at the same time. I said, try it again. And she'd be like, I want my iPad. I'd be like, no, the foot must come down on pad. I want my iPad. I was like, good. All right, then now let's give it volume. And so I'm like, okay, now put it all together. I want my iPad. Bang. Like, oh, that is perfection. I said, you still can't have it, but at least you nailed it. Like,
that was the best anger I've ever seen anyone do. But then, you know, but that's your gift, Renee. That is your gift, is to take these situations that could just be like, I am losing my mind. She's angry again at the iPad. And you turn it into something joyful and funny and effervescent. And now she gets to be like, oh, my mom was amazing. She let me express my feelings. Can you imagine what that would have been like growing up?
I know. Yes, I think about that because I remember on that weekend that we met at Coel's, I think it might have been a podcast or something, but Coel had said, imagine if anger as a child was celebrated as much as being happy. Imagine if you got home and said, I was angry today, and everyone was like, cool, tell me more.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I was happy today, or I had a good day, or whatever. I had an angry day. And to me, you know, like it's with everything. Like if you start playing favorites with some emotions and not others.
Oh my gosh. I know that one.
Like a dog. Yeah.
Oh, or when I started doing journey work, you know, and this is my personality. Oh, I found the solution. I have now fixed myself, and I am love and light now. So there's that sarcastic self is gone, and I don't get mad anymore. Like I'm on the freeway and somebody cut me off. I'm like, love and light, my brother, love and light. And then shocker alert, Shadow, Shadow comes roaring. He's like, I've been repressed for a year and a half. Hello. And it's concentrated, and it's even uglier had I just been a little more self-aware.
Anger to me is the most unsung hero we have got going. It is
Yes.
brilliant. I cannot get enough, like, to feel. And when I feel anger, the good stuff, it is like all of the facades gets like razed to the ground. They get singed, they get on fire, and I can see everything very fucking clearly.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we get to see you before. And we get to see you so clearly because it's hard to keep your facade up when you're angry. You know,
that's that dragon slave right there. That's that real barrier, is explaining to some, because people, when you are angry and pissed off, or you don't like something that triggers them and they're not ready to deal with it, you are up against it twice over, and it's really hard. Like, it's hard. It's worth it, but it's really hard work, and it makes you really unpopular because you have to be like, I'm smarter than you're giving me credit for, and
that's it. Yeah, that's it in a nutshell, and that's what this work is. That's what the work is, to awakening to who you are. It's not easy, and there's a lot of people that are not going to be in agreement with you. So you got to be willing to be disliked by the people that aren't, they don't like it when women, men, whatever, speak their truth. So,
it's so confronting. It's so confronting. And I'm, I have a child in primary school, and like, I'm not great with institutions. And so now I'm in this world of like fundraisers and hot dog days and dress up days, and these is not rules that I made. The government, I could homeschool, but I do like the free daycare.
Yes.
Not gonna lie.
I was the exact same way. It's a balance. I got to make myself happy too. And I think we would both be miserable if I would have homeschooled my son. And I look at just even the few times we've done, his recent math homework, I'm like, I think we're both alive today because of public school. Because it is so frustrating. I can't imagine, 5 days of that. And my heart goes out to the moms and dads that homeschool. That is a big job.
Yeah.
And to do it well is incredible.
Yeah. Unbelievable. I don't have that kind of patience. Like, I even say to Isla, I'm like, please don't make me parent. Can you just do what you're told? Because otherwise I'm going to have to parent you. And I'm tired.
Yeah. I tell West, I'm like, I'm clocking out for 2 hours. So I'm not on the mom roll. Time card has been punched. You're on your own for 2 hours. You can handle it.
Yeah. It's so beautiful because school is the opposite of that. School is, 500 parents or 250 or 1,000 parents all bringing their crazy shit to the one place around the thing that's the most important to them. And I'm there too. Yes. Like, it is so, so any kind of anger or unhappiness or anything you feel disgruntled about, it's like a minefield. I don't even know how I'm going to get through the next. I've got 1 year down. I've got 12 to go. Like, I have these conversations where people want to tell me like what their kid's eating. I don't care. And like unless it's something interesting. Like,
I don't like to be rude. Don't care.
Yeah, don't care. Or they want to talk about like what secondary school and what curriculum they will. Like, if I hear the word curriculum,
that's what I mean. That's what I was able to stave off the panic, but now it'll set in, or they'll talk about college. No, not yet. And
not yet.
I don't, and I look at it from sort of a future to the past take, because I look at all the people that I grew up with that were in a million different things, or played drums and saxophone and tuba and went to all these different things. And it's like, what did it really get them? They can play badminton really well at the company picnic, or did it light their soul up? That's the question I'm asking. Does it light his soul up? Does he really, really want to do it? Or is it just wasting time, making him miserable and me miserable for hounding it in? Is this the benefit way all the work and the struggle?
Yeah, it is lunacy and crazy. And when I speak to parents who might have a kid that doesn't fit into the grid very well, I always say this, it's unsolicited advice, but here I go. I always say, like, you don't want to peak at 5. You don't want to peak at 9.
Amen. I say that
You
too.
don't want to peak at
I say that
13.
too.
The road is fucking long, let me tell you. And also, Ran is A-okay for the next 20 years.
And
You've got
P.S.,
time.
there's no finish line.
Yeah, exactly.
Just so you know.
Yeah, exactly. And if there is, you may as well call it now at 5 and give them a trophy, and you really enjoy that. Because, please, how many people did we go to school with that, like you? I wouldn't wish top of the class on anyone. I wouldn't
That is
wish
so
grandness
true.
on
It
anyone.
is so true, especially in high school and you believe it. You really start, I think you really start to believe it at that age.
Yep. Because your world in when you're little, even up to 18, is so small that it's brutal and horrendous. Don't get me wrong, school's awful. Well, it's nice for some people. It's not my cup of tea. But, they survive school.
I want to know who. Send me a message. Make it nice. Don't complain about my body and my hair. But, like, I want to know who this public school system is really for.
I feel for whoever put it together. I can tell the road to hell is paved with good intentions. I can appreciate nobody wanted to set out to make a torture chamber.
Right.
But I just think of with my job with Isla is to get her through school as intact as possible, as resilient as possible, as less dented and damaged as possible, but not being a rat bag at the same time. Like boundaries, but no squashing. So we kind of...
That's quotable. I'm going to put that in the show notes. That's beautiful because I think, and when we look at the way you're shepherding her through primary school, elementary school, we call it here, but that's what we need to foster in ourselves too. It doesn't change just because now you're a child and you become an adult. Like it's all the same. Like what lights me up?
Yes.
This road is long, but it's not that long. And I'm 51 now, and it's like I can see the decades stacking up. And I look at, I want to matter to not to anyone else, but I want to know that I mattered to myself. I did the best I could, and I did the most I could. And I love what we said about expressing righteous anger, because there's moments in time that I get to express myself and not feel shame about it, not feel shame about getting angry, and honing that skill so that I'm not attacking anyone.
Yeah, totally. And feeling it. And also because maybe with anger as well, you've got to hold space for everyone else that's there in the room, whether they like it or not, like with family. So I'm just thinking of family, because family is probably, I don't usually get that angry in front of my friends. I'm not that relaxed, but, I have to be inner sanctum people, not that it's complicated. But anyways, if I'm with family and I'm unleashing hell, I need to hold space for them too, for them to cope with my anger. I'm not throwing anything, but I'm all out of fucks. But I appreciate that makes them nervous. Yeah. So I have to my 5-year-old has seen me angry, and she has come back and I can see her trying to cope by being extra nice. And I say to her, I am angry only at something else. I am not angry at you. That said, I can't just turn it around right now and feel happy with you, but you don't need to do anything to help me. I have got this, and I love you, and we're good. That's go your beautiful way, I'll go mine. Yeah,
I think that's rampant. Before we started talking, I didn't really realize how much shame there is in expressing anger, and how
my family was laughed at. It was laughed at. If you got angry in my extended family, people would smirk at you, snigger. They would say, you'd be like, "Oh, look at you getting upset. Oh, aren't you angry?"
Wow.
Ooh.
So they had power over you because you're losing control. And I remember that growing up, because I was a hothead and I was adopted. So I was the one that was always out of control. And I remember my brothers and sisters, we'd all have to write letters to each other when we got in fights. And I recently read these letters that my brothers and my sister wrote, and they would write, "If only Robin could learn how to control herself." And I get that now. It's like, that's why I've been trying to control and suppress and not make mistakes and try not to be who I am, because that person wasn't okay. So what you're doing with Isla, is it? Your beautiful girl, Isla, you're allowing her to be herself in all aspects and to get to see you in your anger and be okay with it. Because I think that's so important too. And I get angry with my son, but I'm not attacking him, but it's like, I'm angry right now. You don't spring your homework at 7:30. Not okay. That's not okay. We'll get through it, but I'm angry and I got to be angry until I'm not.
Yes. Yeah, and there's something, and I think a child gives you that beautiful chance to learn that phrase. I'm very cross. I'm very cross right now, and it feels so wild and good to say, and it's a really childlike thing. I said it at work the other day, and a grown-up was like, "Fuck, I haven't heard that since I was 10." But, I was very cross. I'm very cross right now, and it feels exquisite. But when you said in the letters with your brothers and sisters that, I'd prefer Robin if she was in control. Your gift, your coaching gift is helping people lose control. You're giving straight back. You are giving it like that is your medicine.
And I feel it to my core now, and not trying to suppress any part of myself feels incredible. And having a lifetime of trying to hide who I am, to now being like Rebecca, don't give 2 fucks. Don't even give 1. No, I really don't. I really don't care.
Started at 0.
We're going to have to go back to, I'm not good at math, but maybe a negative number.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how, and it's so much sweeter because I know the path of hiding who I am, and now being able to allow others to express, you're beautiful as you are. Please love yourself as you are. All of the parts, not the case of the Sundays, or when I lose 20 pounds, or when I gain 20 pounds, or when my hair is longer, whatever it is. We go down that road of, I can't love myself now. Yes.
Yeah. Yes, and right now. And that's how I feel when I see from afar, when you're nature bound, when you're out in Mother Earth. I'm not there with you, but I know that if I was, it would just be salt encrusted hair in the most, the best kind of hair.
Yes.
Salt encrusted hair. It's about that letting be whatever is, without restriction, and that comes circles back to free flow as well. Like literally just clothes.
Free
it's
flow
that expansion
would be us,
to contraction.
yes. Free flow is there, and she's just floating in the breeze. And we're not hiking to exercise. We're not hiking to accomplish anything. We are becoming who we are with Mother Nature. We're just being Mother Nature. We are now Mother Nature, walking on ourselves.
And don't you think Mother Nature gets a bad rap? Because I don't know what it's like in America, but in Australia, you get dragged out to the bush. They call it camp. It's awful. And you have to appreciate nature, and you're not allowed to touch it. You can only leave footprints. You can only take photos.
Right. That drives
it's so sterile, and it's awful. And you have to eat this shitty camp food. I don't know why.
It's like they're trying to take Mother Nature and the wilderness and can it. Like a shopping mall.
Yeah. And not even in a good way. Not in a nice way. No one puts a couch out there. It's just this awful, this is how we Mother Nature, and it involves like synthetic clothes and heavy boots.
But isn't that the way it is with everything that we're trying to can? Like we're trying to can ourselves. We're trying to can our relationship to the earth. So you're going to tell me how to have a relationship with this earth, this planet that we came from. I get to do it intuitively. Or art in school. Art that's not the way you do it. I taught art at my son's elementary school, and I was obviously not very popular with the teachers, very popular with the students, because I said, there's no mistakes in art, and every single one of you is an artist. And I call this kid Shark Planet because he wanted to do he's like, can I make a shark planet to go revolving around the sun? Oh, absolutely. That sounds like an incredible idea. Teacher comes over. She's like, no, there's no such thing as shark planets in the solar system. Like, that's for science.
Yeah,
We're doing art. Heck yes, you can do a shark planet and you can put some glitter on it or whatever else you want to do. But I think that's a concentrated idea of how we've been domesticated and how our spirits have been shut down. And I want everyone's spirit to wake up to who and sing your own song. It doesn't have to be a beautiful song to anyone else but you, but sing it. I don't want you to go through this life and die without at least letting somebody else hear your song.
Yes, totally. It's yeah, oh my God, totally. And it's this addiction to the clock as well. Like, you know, you look at the clock and so at this time we have to be doing this. And it's and that's why school is so triggering, because it's hundreds of people telling you the right way.
Yes.
Which immediately just gets my back up. And, you know, who's to say, like, where dinner's to be had and what's for dinner and what time you're eating it and when the baby's going to sleep. And, like, fuck it. Right. Like, there's one of the most liberating things in hindsight is when you get the newborn home, you shut the front door. I mean, it's terrifying because they yell a lot, but you can just cuddle it all day and no one's there. Like, no one's, because all the books are saying, don't pick them up when they cry. Right. Don't love them. Don't cuddle them. Right. You can't sleep in this. Like, But then you shut the front door and you're like, oh, I can just dress you in frills and cuddle you all day and kiss you and
yes,
and nobody knows.
I had Wes, what I called him, on the 1,000 Kisses a Day program, and I don't think I put him down until he was 5. Like, that's just his personality, though. Like, you could tell me I'm fostering dependence. Like, no, I guarantee this is how this one came out. I wanted more independence. No, he needed that extra. He came in like that. And it was healing, though, to him. He has now since found his voice, his independence. I didn't create this monster, basement dweller that's going to be with me forever. Whatever that movie was, Cyrus. I don't know if you saw that with Marissa Tomei, Jonah Hill. She has an adult son that they're so enmeshed and codependent, and she starts to date this man, and her son is having none of it.
But I don't dress to the weather, which isn't very respectful sometimes to my body, but I'll be fucked if the weather forecast is going to control my outfits.
Amen.
So, like, if it's winter,
we're sisters. We're sisters from another mother, because I am the same. People will say that, why are you always dressed inappropriately? Because I don't look outside. I am choosing my outfit from my heart.
Yep.
And several other factors.
I'll sweat. Yeah, I'll sweat or I'll get goosebumps.
Yeah, same. Oh, well.
No big deal.
I'm wearing what I wanted.
Yeah.
Well, I'm doing this class with RuPaul, and he said, anything besides your naked body, you're in drag. You're presenting something you want others to see. Everything is manufactured that's on your body. So we're all in drag. We all have this ability to put on a facade, and that's okay. Own it though. Own what you wear and make it your own. You can wear whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't.
And with that, we got to wrap it up. But this has been amazing. Every single time I talk to you, I get these incredible downloads. I just feel like a better person.
Same. I can't believe I got lucky enough to meet you and you like to talk to me.
I love to talk to you. Same. I'm like, I hope if I send this message to Renee, I'm going to get some sort of feedback, because it just lights me up.
Oh, same. It is like, I'm going to be buzzing now for the rest. Thank you. I'm going to be buzzing for the rest of the afternoon. My cup is full of energy. Same. I call them diddly bops or bop diddly. Yes. I'm full of diddly bops. To the top.
I am full of diddly bops. That is brilliant. And you are brilliant. And I love you, my beautiful friend. And, and where can people find you if they want to do some coaching? And
sure. Well, I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram as Renee Ballard. Same. I'm so findable. Like, I'm all over everything.
Okay. And I'll post all your links too.
Yeah. Gorgeous. Absolute happy days. but yeah, because so now I'm running a design agency with my husband, and so I'm bringing all my marketing and comms and stuff to that, which is super wonderful. Yeah, onwards. On it goes.
Sing your song and produce your magic, because I, for one, am a fan.
Thank you, and straight back at you.
Thank you so much, Renee.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.